everybody. Welcome to Biters. We are covering the season 6, episode 10 today, and this is Dianne in Alaska.
And as always, yours zombified 30-something, Brian.
I can't tell. I'm not zombified this morning, but it got very icy, so maybe I'm a little iced over from last night.
Well, we had a heat wave here in the Midwest, and it was up in the 60s, and I came out of the weekend with bronchitis, so I'm doing awesome.
Oh, no.
Good
That's
times,
terrible.
good times.
Well...
we were kind of expecting this a little bit of an episode going into it. I didn't have high hopes just because of the bloodbath that occurred the previous week. They always have them, the come down episodes or the filler episodes to kind of get your emotions straight and get you coming down off of that high from last week.
Okay.
But it had way more than I thought it was going to. I was pleasantly surprised.
So how would you rate the episode?
I'll give it 3.5 sinking trucks out of 5.
So I'm going to give it 4 awkward apologies by Denise to Daryl.
That's funny.
So we were pretty close.
Yeah, it was good. It had some content. It had one of my bold predictions from the beginning of the season.
I think I wrote that down, actually.
Yeah, in the last, in the last 5 minutes of the show, which in the first 2 minutes of the show, I went, yep, bold prediction just came true.
I have to say, if I had to rate it on, the last 5 minutes, I probably would have rated it higher, but overall, 4 out of 5.
Yeah, pretty good. Let's roll into the numbers here, and then we can reveal what we're talking about to everybody, right?
All right. So since we were up early and since we are recording early again today, oh, by the way, no drinking this morning because it's morning for both of us, but I would like to encourage those of you who are listening later to raise a glass of Irish whiskey to my friend Katie. Sadly, she passed away last week, and she was very young, but she was good Irish lass, so a toast to Katie.
Toast to Katie.
All right. So last week's numbers. Initial view, 13.74 million, which is pretty good for a mid-season opener.
Yeah, and if you look back at our season 1 numbers, that's almost triple.
Yeah, exactly. And it is triple in some cases because we had some numbers down in the 4.5 range. So it jumped hugely in Live Plus 3. It went up to 19 million, little over 19 million. And in the really coveted demographic of 18 to 49, 6.8 million on the first day. Live Plus 3, it jumped up to 9.6 million. So 41% increase in the Live Plus 3.
Yeah, those DVRs. Think about how big of an impact DVRs have, and they're able to track it now too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a huge part. It's a long way from breaking out your VHS tape, and it had to be on that channel, and it had to be there, and you had to hit record right when it started, and all sorts of stuff. The farther it's come, DVRs save it, and I think DVRs really keep a lot of people interested in it.
I think so too, because they can watch it whenever they are ready to watch it. I think the only thing that's not beneficial, as someone who's on a little bit of a delay sometimes, is that I miss the Talking Dead. And I do enjoy that, so...
Well, you didn't miss too much this week.
Yeah, it was okay this week. I watched it this week. I actually had a better feed than I thought I was going to, so I was able to watch it last night, but...
Yeah, I was able to snag it last night. The one thing that I will say, and here's what kind of ruins this, is as The Walking Dead is going... And during the commercial breaks, one of them, they'll say, here's who's coming up on The Talking Dead.
Right.
And if it lists out 3 people, A, those actors are going to have a big part in tonight's episode, and B, neither of them are going to die. So if it lists out 3 people,
and 2 of them are actors, right?
Yeah, that means the couch is full and nobody is going to die. So immediately I was already down, like, well, everybody's safe tonight. And why is Michonne and what's his name?
Spencer. Austin, I think his name is.
Yeah, I'm like, they've got a big part in tonight's show. Which, again, I had 2, as a matter of fact.
You actually had 3.
I had 3 bold predictions.
If I'm tracking all the bold predictions, I think you had 3, so it'll be interesting to go through them.
Nice. All right. Well, I am just a champ then, I guess, huh?
All right. So, the title was The Next World. So, what do you think that means?
Well, that was a direct reference to Jesus.
Yes.
And when him running away and saying, hey, this is the next world, and him kind of just his little games he was playing, saying that, look, there's a bigger part to what's going on than just you in Alexandria. And it also, to me, talks to the bigger picture of things I want to talk about later in the episode about where the group is, the next world. They just slaughtered 1,000 walkers. The town's looking pretty clean. Everything's done, and you can see the difference between the comfort level of last week's episode to this week's episode, the next world. They've started that next chapter in their life. They started a new Alexandria. They've started everything new again.
I agree with you. I think it was definitely a reference to the bigger world around them and to a nod to the comic book arc, because I think they titled it The Larger World. Mm-hmm. Which is what this whole second half of the season is titled. I also think it talks about the evolution of the relationships between all of the characters in Alexandria. The only other thing that I added in my notes was maybe it is about Spencer sending Deanna to the next world too.
Oh, good point.
So I don't know. I was reaching, but I thought, that could be interesting. So let's see. Our writer was Angela Kang, and she wrote with Corey Reed. She has tons of Walking Dead credits as both writer, producer, and editor. And interestingly enough, Corey Reed has a fair number of Walking Dead credits as writer and producer, and he also was on TV shows like Medium. But they wrote Four Walls and Four Walls in a Room together. Mm. So this is the second time that they've paired up.
Sure.
And then our director was a woman named Kari Skogland. Have you ever heard of her?
No, and I believe she is a journeyman to The Walking Dead directing, right?
This is her first Walking Dead episode, although she did direct 2 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead last season.
Ah. So well, I do think it's interesting that someone for The Walking Dead's first time, they pair that person up with some real veteran writers to kind of, bring them into the flagship and kind of help them progress through,
I was just going to say, it really shores things up if you have 2 people who really know the world and are really connected to the world. I mean, Angela Kang has been working on the set since 2011, so...
Cool.
The other thing that was kind of interesting about Kari Skogland is that she has tons of TV credits. She had worked on a couple of movies that I wasn't familiar with, including a movie called 50 Dead Men Walking. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
I had neither, and I just pulled another name, Liberty Stands Still. But she was named by The Hollywood Reporter as one of 10 directors to watch. So,
well, we just watched her.
We did, and she's got good stuff in her portfolio, like Vikings, Penny Dreadful, Queer as Folk. So she's done some interesting stuff.
All right. Well, hey, let's rip into this epic fail and epic fail. I want you to start because I want to spoil your day with my epic. So you start.
Well, so I'm going to get that out of the way, and if you haven't watched it, big, fat spoiler alert, you better come back later. But for me, it was definitely Rick and Michonne, or as people are saying, Rishonne.
Rishonne.
I actually got misled a little bit. I thought that they were kind of setting Michonne up to have something with Spencer, because she was in the woods with him and talking about how, he still has family and he still has people that he can be close to. And she has that line about, Deanna told me to go for what I want, or to figure out what I want.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that part.
And I was like, I'm not sure that I like this. So I was completely shocked. I shouldn't have been, but I was completely shocked by the last 5 minutes of the episode. And I have to tease Karen over at the Walking Dead cast a little bit, because she spent a whole bunch of time last week talking about how, it's just a really great platonic relationship, and they're such good friends. And they're friends in that way that it just doesn't evolve into a romance.
Whoops.
So
clearly she doesn't know of me and my bold prediction.
That's right. So I really liked it. It was really funny. You heard this because you watched the Talking Dead. Chris Hardwick calls them the ultimate power couple.
Yeah.
And then he made a reference to her getting some deep ricking, which I thought was really funny.
That was hilarious.
And let's see, I just have to say what an incredibly rude ending to an otherwise blissful night and morning.
So sure, let me dive into the whole. So this was epic, or this was my bold prediction, one of the three. So you have to keep me on track here. When I hit it, just tell me, because I only got two. I might have forgot one of my own predictions, but
okay.
So nailed it. I've been talking about this forever. But in that first moment where she's so comfortable about being in her bathrobe in front of him, and Carl's just kind of accepting, it felt like this was a home.
I thought so too, and that's why I was so thrown off with the whole Spencer thing.
Yeah, so it had that thing, and then she's going out, or Rick is leaving, and she's like, goes to give him like a low five, and the fingers kind of drag across each other's fingers.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, it just lingered a little bit, and I'm just like, oh, that's it. I win. This is awesome. And then when they sat down on the couch, so how was your day? How was your day? I'm like, they already have a home here.
That's exactly what I thought. I thought, oh, they're kind of like an old married couple already.
Yes. So then I will say I didn't think it was going to progress that fast. I didn't think they were going to go full sex mode and do everything and it was going to end. I thought that would have drug out a little bit more. I thought maybe, okay, they're just going to like hold hands when they were holding hands over the mints.
Right.
And then that was kind of going to be it. But they just went full flesh on flesh. And I will say this, they've always had those emotions for each other.
Yes.
And when they were lying in bed, Rick still had his hand on her butt.
Oh, I missed that too. That's sweet.
Yeah. So they're laying there sleeping and he still has his hand on her butt, which to me says that this is a deep-rooted emotion.
Right. There's a real connection there.
Yeah. So it's just like, all right, cool. And then you hear, Rick, okay, it's time to talk, which I thought was hilarious that Jesus was then standing in his room.
Okay. And I have to say, I love the both of them leaping out of bed, Rick with his gun, Michonne with her sword, just totally not even thinking about the fact that they're both naked, but they're ready to take on the world. That was pretty cool.
So yeah, that was just a cool sequence, that how that relationship kind of progressed through. So I was very happy with that.
I'm sure you caught this on The Talking Dead, but they talked to Dianne Brian quite extensively about the development of the relationship, and she said that was actually the first time that she and Andy Lincoln kissed, because they didn't want it to look rehearsed. They wanted it to look spontaneous. Right. So it was cool. They did a great job.
No, very awesome. So,
all right, your epic.
Sure, my epic is Jesus, the arrival of Jesus, how he kind of came in, and I didn't know that was going to be Jesus until he pulled down his bandana over his face. So my comic book relations will stop here. I stopped in the comics at this point, so I would never know what's coming. So everything from here on out, I am a straight TV viewer. I have no idea how anything's going to play out. So it was cool to see him kind of run up, and then they have that interaction, and just his whole character being there. So the one thing that I will say is this is just further proof for me Daryl is going to die.
Ah, okay. I have a bold prediction about a death for next week, but...
Yeah, I believe Jesus and Daryl are very similar in who they are and what they represent.
That's a good take.
One guy comes in, one guy's got to go out. And that's just more further proof for me that Daryl is going to die.
So we're back in bold prediction land.
Yep.
All right.
So Jesus is my epic. Jesus better be everybody's epic.
Well, I'm going to break your heart because Jesus was actually my fail.
Really?
I just, I didn't really like a bunch of the ways that they kind of drew him in. Like, I thought his tumble off of the roof of the van with no injury was really lame. And I thought the whole tumble looked really lame. which was kind of disappointing later on to find out that it actually was a full-on real effect, because to me it kind of looked like a dummy pitching off the roof.
I thought it was too.
So it was not a great effect. That was disappointing. Was he hit by the van, or was he knocked out of the van when he was knocked unconscious?
As it was rolling down the bank, the open door of it smacked him in his head.
Okay. So
and that's how he got knocked out.
I also felt like, gosh, this guy has already survived 2 big things. He's taken a header off of the roof of this van. Now, I wasn't exactly sure what part of the van hit him because I was looking down at that point, writing notes, of course. But I thought, this is kind of lame. And then the other thing I thought was he got on that roof wicked fast. He got out of those bonds and up on that roof wicked fast.
So what I'm thinking, because I'm like, how in the hell did he get on the roof? Well, what I'm thinking is he knows the terrain better than they do. So he knew which way they were going. So he was able to kind of cut them off at a pass and hop up on there. I don't think he did it right then and there.
That is a better explanation, because I was thinking, I just don't know how this happened. He magically transported to the roof. Scotty was in the woods beaming him up.
Yeah, something. But in the bigger picture, it shows how much of a badass Jesus really is.
Yeah, I have continued the comics, this, and I'm not totally caught up, but I don't remember, quite frankly, a lot about his arc, so I may have to go and do some looking. But
well, I mean, if you just watch him, he literally beats the piss out of both of them in 5 seconds. Clearly he has a lot of martial arts experience. I mean, when Daryl wraps him up from behind, he does a couple of quick jabs in the right spot, and he's already broken free.
Yeah.
So he's very quick with what he does, and just kind of one of those things. It was really cool to watch it kind of develop in who his character was, which, again, furthers my thought that he will be replacing Daryl.
Well, I hope I grow to love this character, because right now I am indifferent at best.
He will be in it for the long run. Let's just say that.
So that was my fail. It was a relatively small fail in the scheme of things, but I kind of didn't like the way that his introduction was handled, and I just felt like, oh, great. Okay, so he can fall off the van and be fine, and he can get plowed over by the van or plowed into by the van's door and be fine. Okay.
So my fail is the truck rolling into the water. The whole
yes, I
field
agree.
scene of them kind of running around and playing Skippy and just doing all this stuff, it was just a, are you kidding me, kind of a moment. Like, go freaking figure. Like, you made all this time running around in circles like a bunch of damn idiots, and this is what happens. See, like this, it was just very frustrating to then watch the truck roll into the water, and it's like, but it all kind of goes back into it where if you don't work together, you lose everything.
Oh, that's a good take.
Because if you look at it, Rick and Daryl weren't working together.
Well, and they were even at cross purposes in terms of Jesus's introduction into the whole story, because, Rick was kind of trying to pull him in and trying to do his 3 questions, and Daryl was like, oh, just leave it, Which
is so telling about that used to be Daryl and that used to be Rick.
Right.
Rick used to be like, nope, screw you, you're not a part of us. Where Daryl would be like, no, let's go through the questions.
Yeah, you're right. They have really, in the time jump, which I think we'll probably talk a little bit more about in our writing potpourri section, in the 2 months, that's what they said on Talking Dead that it was. Yes. They have really switched, you're right.
So that was my fail. It was just very annoying to watch the truck roll into the water. It's just like, come on, man.
Well, and you played right into my epic fail, which is that it is that whole feeling that they made beginners' mistakes throughout this episode.
We have the same epic fail.
So I did count losing the truck as one of those beginners' mistakes. Totally the whole getting taken advantage of by Jesus in the first place. I mean, that was so lame that they were like, oh, firecrackers. Oh, gosh, there goes the truck. And then I had to laugh when one of the people who wrote into the Talking Dead called their running the Alexandria 5K.
Yeah.
Because it feels like we've been doing an awful lot of prep for the Alexandria 5K this season.
Yeah. my part of it was everyone is just way too comfortable again.
Which leads to those beginner's mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same stuff, because the part for me that just, it was very annoying, but they had the music cranked up as loud as they could driving down the car.
Which I have to say was, of course, very funny, especially when Daryl was like, oh, no.
No, we're not listening to country again. No. So that whole part of just, no, they weren't watching each other's backs. You know, they were both, when when Jesus had the face mask up over his face, I was like, oh, it's one of Negan's people, because instantly they were looking at him, both of them, and their backs were both exposed. So if I needed you two to both turn around, I would just run into you, and then you guys would look at me while my person just bashes your skull in from behind.
Yeah.
You know? So just those, that everyone is very comfortable, and we'll get to it later, but just, it was very, that was my epic fail. Because they do this over and over and over. They get comfortable, the walker alert level is very low, so they just kind of put their guard down, and then they always take one on the chin. When they put their guard down, they always get hit in the face, every single time.
I just suddenly had a vision of Rick farming.
Yeah, are you farming? Or even just in Alexandria, when they were all just kind of hanging out, and everyone's looking for pasta machines, and just
right,
having a good old time, and then flaming bodies come over the top, and the wolves kind of ransack the place. You know, they just got comfortable. They didn't have people watching, and it just was very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So there you go, epic fail, and we shared an epic fail, so not bad. But we definitely contradicted ourselves in epic and fail. So
that was pretty funny.
We were our own juxtaposition.
There you go. Somebody raise a glass of some good Irish whiskey.
Yay.
So, just in terms of rotting potpourri, I've got to say I really did enjoy the use of humor in this episode. There were some really funny moments, like watching Daryl take everyone's orders for the run.
Yeah, the whole Denise part was, it was cool. And I don't, I mean, these are parts that are probably just been cut out, but obviously her and Tara are a thing.
Right.
So
we do have that two-month time jump. So
yeah. So, you know, she's like, hey, you know, I was wondering if you could get Pop. And I thought it was hilarious because he's like, what the hell's Pop?
I thought that was funny too, because it's such a regional thing.
Yeah, in Iowa, we all say Pop here.
Now, see, we all say soda here.
And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just where I'm from. Oh, and I was going to say, oh, please say Iowa. And she goes, Ohio. I'm like, oh, whatever. But I thought it was pretty funny because what the hell's Pop? And I'm just like, oh my God, that's totally true. Totally true. Because I've had a friend in the service in Texas, and he was like, what in the hell is Pop? And because everything's a Coke to him, yeah. Whether it's a Pepsi or a Mountain Dew, it's still a Coke, you know.
That's like, oh.
Funny. So yeah, just watching him here do this, and he's just kind of like, all right, and she's kind of beating around the bush with Tara about, you know, oh, so yeah, is everyone aware that they're a couple, or are they still in hiding with it, or
well, my God, they're living in the same house. I hope everybody's aware. Alexandria's not that big. Of course, Mrs. Niedermeyer is dead, so she's not there monitoring everybody's business.
That's right.
The other thing that I thought was funny, I enjoyed watching Eugene kind of leaning into the car, talking to them about sorghum. That was really funny. And then the line toward the end where Rick and Daryl are like, it's pretty stupid of us to go out there. Do it again tomorrow? Yep.
Yep.
So there was good humor kind of breaking up this episode a little bit.
So one of my venting sessions is the actual time jump itself.
Oh, interesting. Now, I thought the time jump was good, so let's get into it.
I think we missed a lot of dialogue, a lot of crucial conversations that have needed to happen. How are we, you know, we get that final shot of them, you know, everyone's sitting on the porch of that house, all bloodied with the 1,000 walker bodies around them.
Right.
And they're all just kind of like sitting there like, yeah, we all kind of came together. Even Rick says, you know, we came together. I seen what they could do. How did we not have a conversation about where are we going from here? You know, how are we going to live our life? Then Retro, Abraham, and Daryl and Sasha just met 8 heavily armed bikers who said all of your stuff now belongs to Negan and all of this stuff that just happened. How did we miss that crucial conversation?
Okay,
And then
I will definitely take that. That is a really good point. 2 months in, nobody said a frickin' thing about Negan and his motorcycle gang.
Yeah,
and that's that's a little worrisome.
And they probably did, but why are you back out, just you and Rick, cruising around in a car again?
Right.
What if you run into another group? You don't have a rocket launcher anymore.
So
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say that they did make one small concession, and I missed the content of the sign. They brought it up on Talking Dead. The sign says something like "Mercy for all except plunderers."
It's mercy for the weary and vengeance for the plunderers or something like that, which that's just an open invitation.
Right. That's true. So they tried to address it, apparently, but you're right. I mean, it's basically saying the door's wide open so you can pretend to be weary, but, we don't really know.
Yeah, so it was all just very frustrating for me in that retrospect, just because there's lots of stuff that needed to be discussed here. And, Maggie's with the time jump and them finding out that they're pregnant, she's got to be 4.5, 5 months along now.
Oh, good point. And she doesn't, we didn't get a great view of her, but what I saw of her, she certainly didn't look like she was that far along.
Right, because they know they're pregnant, so you don't know you're pregnant.
Until at least a month in.
Yeah, so let's say a month and a half, 2 months, because they knew they were just keeping it a secret.
Yeah.
Plus a 2-month time jump. So you're at 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
So, there's lots of stuff to discuss and talk about and things that we jumped so far ahead. I think that it would have been nice to have a couple of days to kind of flesh these things out, then jump forward. That would have been okay.
So I was a lot more simplistic about the time jump. I was glad that they did it because I felt like they could have dragged out Carl's recovery and the agony of his recovery for so long that I was really glad they didn't spend a lot of time on that part of the story.
Which also, how badass is Carl? He's the only one to survive 2 gunshots now.
Right.
He does one to the abdomen and one to the head now.
And someone on either a podcast I listened to, maybe on the Talking Dead last week, pointed out that now Chandler Riggs is acting with monovision. He's not seeing anything out of that eye.
Yeah, so how awesome, man. Like the character of Carl, I think, and here's another kind of a bold prediction, Carl's going to go very Vader-esque here. He is going to become Darth Vader. You watch it progress, even with Enid out in the forest, someone he loved and he was going to do anything for. And now he's just kind of like, whatever, you're annoying me.
Just go. Just get out of here.
Fine, you don't want to be out in the woods? Let's leave. Jesus.
Yeah.
Here we go again with the old lady, just kind of huffing and puffing and whatever. And then she's like, no. And he's like, just get out of here. Because I see it as he now thinks of himself as so far advanced beyond anybody. Because in a way, it's true. Yes, Enid's seen her parents get eaten, but Carl also killed his mother and watched his baby sister be cut out. And all of this stuff that kind of progressed through him. And he did get shot and he survived. And now he got shot again and survived. And he killed a kid and he's killed other people and he's killed walkers. And for someone to be so seasoned in the world, I would say that it's probably Carl.
I even have written in my notes, because I was reflecting on that scene between Maggie and Enid, that Enid just kind of came off as a sulky kid. And I see the seeds of Maggie becoming the matriarch.
Yep. Oh, is that my other bold prediction?
That is your other bold prediction, but that's not the one that I was thinking about last night. So we've got more. But wait, there's more. So what else have you got in the rotting potpourri?
Well, the Walker Deanna. So that was 3 bold predictions right there.
That was the other one that I was thinking of, because I was like, ooh, you got it right in terms of the Walker Deanna. The only thing that was off was that she ultimately did not kill her son.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do the whole lovey movement and bite me in the end and the whole deal. But I think Spencer was far enough along, and when he was out there with a shovel, I'm like, we didn't see him with his mom.
Yes.
And I'm like, maybe he has her tied up somewhere. That's kind of what I was thinking of. Maybe he's got her tied up somewhere and he's just slowly kind of digging her grave as he has her tied up so she doesn't wander off. And maybe he's doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of neat to watch that little storyline progress. I know you got a lot to say about it.
Oh, I just really liked the way that they pulled Carl into it. I was pretty sure, and I'm sure you were too, that when he and Enid were kind of horrified by the walker, that it was Deanna. And, just Carl's recognition that Spencer had to do it. And he said later on, I wanted it to be done by somebody who loved her. So I felt like he was kind of reliving his arc with Lori. And there was even a part of me that was like, is he going to be re-traumatized by this? But then I thought, nah, he's been through so much that's just another mark of passage for him.
Right. And I think there's still lots more to come on that storyline. I think Spencer and Carl are going to be besties now.
I do too. I think they're going to have a bond.
Yeah, I think they're going to be battle buddies. Spencer's not quite there yet as far as being a combatant, but I think this is what's really going to make Carl teach Spencer how to fight and really get his hands dirty and really just be aggressive. And I think that's what's going to, they're going to get their little bro club going, stuff like that to kind of keep themselves fresh. But it was important to see Carl do that and then to explain to Michonne why. And I think that was a really big piece of why Michonne then finally decided to sleep with Rick.
Because she really was the part of that family.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, Denai Guerrera said that she felt like that was the turning point because she realized that someone loved her that much and she was open to new possibilities. She was finally not shut down anymore from her relationship and from her first relationship and from the loss of her child.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's really all that I had as far as the potpourri section, just that everyone was relaxed. Bad things happen when your guard is down.
Yeah.
I won't talk about the sneak peek at next week. That's always on at The Talking Dead, at the end of The Talking Dead. But there's it's the next world. That's all kind of what's coming about. So you had a bold prediction for next week.
Well, so it's related to the sneak peek, and hopefully I'm not spoiling people, but I really think that that it might be Abe's swan song next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, the little sneak peek that they did show us, he is the one who is running down into the house with Denise.
In Alexandria.
Yes.
Why would they be going down there? Okay, so all right, let's talk about it.
Well, so, of course mine is a holdover from the graphic novels, but I just keep visualizing Abe's end, and I think that we might be getting there.
See, so we're not going to talk about the comics, we'll just speculate.
Right.
So at the sneak peek for next week, they just show Denise in Alexandria yelling at Abe, and then they run down some stairs into a little stairwell, kind of like where the wolf was.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really know what to think of it. I just thought that was the same house that they kept the prisoners in. So maybe Denise went in there to check on Jesus.
I think that's it. Yeah.
That he wasn't there anymore. So then Abe went running down there like, what do you mean he's not here? That's because he's standing at Rick and Michonne's foot of the bed. So I think it's a total diversion because they never give away anything on that sneak peek. It's a total oh man, something's bad when you already know what the outcome is.
I hope you are right because I really do love Sergeant Abraham Ford, but I think he's on the kill list this season.
And we had kind of talked about that just because he was a big time actor before The Walking Dead. So he comes in, he's there, that veteran support comes in, provides some good stability, makes some big impacts. Then he's out after a few seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was already a fan favorite before he came in to the show.
Right. A lot of us knew him from Band of Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Southland, which I'm finally starting to watch, and I really like it.
What else? So one thing that kind of just why would you not? So when they found that big truck of supplies,
right?
They said, well, let's see what else we can find. Why would you not just instantly just drive that back?
Right, you hightail it back with the truck.
Look at what we got. We're done for the day. Just
I
shut her down.
actually thought the box van and the kind of abandoned gas station were little callbacks, little nods to season 1.
How so?
Well, the box van is what got everybody out of Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And that gas station just reminded me of the gas station where we first see Rick shooting the little zombie girl.
Yeah, I guess so.
So it was just kind of more a visual callback for me.
I will say too, so one thing about the gas station that I thought was very telling of the times, when they flip it over the vending machine and Rick's like, it's all junk and pop, what do you want that for? Just 2 seasons ago, you were about to eat dog food out of the can.
Right.
And now you're turning your nose up at pop, at soda. So that's kind of just like, how telling of the times are you? Is that you're just kind of like, whatever. No, it's take every bit of stuff that's out there. So that was just kind of that about the gas station.
This kind of plays into the Vatos deleted scene that we'll talk about in a couple of minutes.
Yes.
But I was thinking about how when you are in the apocalypse, you take everything that has calories in it, regardless of what it is. You can't be picky.
Yeah. So that was just kind of there. I did also kind of think when they opened it up and they seen that perfect truck in there and they opened up its full supplies, I'm like, ooh, that's someone's secret stash.
Oh, yeah.
You might be getting your hands dirty again here, pal.
The way that it was packaged and the way that it was kind of stacked neatly, you're right.
It was somebody's, emergency fallout thing.
Oh, man, and not only did they steal it, but then they lost it.
Yeah, so this could be someone that they're going to run into later of saying, are you the bastards who took my truck too?
Right.
So that was kind of there. It was weird why you wouldn't say, okay, you follow me in the car and let's just take this back and call it a day. We've only been out here for an hour. We hit the jackpot. Let's take all this stuff back and just rest for the rest of the day. And then they both would have been able to drive both cars back and go. But
that's the other thing. Why leave the car? There's 2 of them that can drive.
Yeah. So, but again, it comes back to everyone was too comfortable again.
Yeah. So let's see, what else did I have? I thought that just the whole theme of unfinished business between mothers and sons was cool, kind of going back to Carl and Spencer. Let's see.
Let's just roll into that feedback. We got some people out there who were pretty active here in our Vatos episode.
Yeah, so we had a question from Laura Willie Swink asking if we had watched the deleted scenes for Vatos, and we both talked before we started recording, and we had, but we had a very different reaction to it.
Yeah, so if anyone is interested, some of our retro stuff was about Vatos and how cool it was, and that storyline was never revisited, and why didn't we do it? Well, one of our great listeners, Laura, she was able to link it up in a discussion, so it's out there on the Biters Facebook page. If you scroll through, there's a link. You click on it, you can watch the deleted scene, and it was pretty freaking sweet. I loved it, and I see why they cut it, because it really would have influenced how I viewed other characters.
Absolutely. And that's why I didn't like it.
See, so the reason I loved it is the reason you hated it.
I just felt like it
juxtaposition.
There you go. I felt like it didn't fit. And I felt like the group didn't have any cohesiveness.
Right. So, the one part that really stuck out. So let's just paint everybody a picture. The group is scrambling after the CDC and they're like, wait, where can we go? And Glenn and Rick are like, yeah, let's go see whatever the guy's name. Guillermo's people, and like, well, you mean the people who took him high, and like, it's a completely different story. Just trust us.
Right.
They get there. The place has been overrun. There's walkers. They're kind of going through, and you're seeing all these people that are dead, and they've been shot, and there's walkers, and they're talking. Everyone's scared. They're seeing all these old people that are dead and young people that are dead. And there's one comment where Lori is just really kind of a biznatch. And, she's like, look, this place is overrun. We're just going to get overrun again. And Daryl goes, no, this place wasn't overrun. Somebody did this. And she's like, what would you know? Just some kind of hick or just something. She's really just playing down his intelligence level. because
She
she
actually
was
makes a comment about the number of syllables that he uses in the word. I mean, she's
right.
really insulting.
Yeah, because he goes observant. She goes, oh, whoa, that's more than that's a 3-syllable word for you.
Right.
And he goes, no. He goes, look at this. These people are all shot execution style. These weren't walkers. These were people that did this. That's what you need to be afraid of, is other people. Observant. And then he walks away.
It did make me question what if. So what if they had gone down that road? Would we have ended up... They showed that we ended up in the same place, on the side of the road, waiting for Sophia to come back. But, I felt like it just would have gone down a completely different path if they had taken this arc.
So here's why I think they ultimately decided to cut this out. And I would love to understand why, if this was the hidden motive. I think it was too revealing about the governor.
It definitely brought the whole idea of fight the dead, fear the living into the series much, much sooner than they ultimately brought it into the series.
Right. So I think this was the governor's people who did this.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering the same.
And when you first meet the governor in the town, you want to like them.
Right. You actually think there's the potential that he's a good guy and that the town is for real.
Right. Had you known this going into it, you probably would have been like, oh my God, I bet this is the guy who killed those people.
Right.
So I want to magically think that's the reason why it happened like that.
So the other thing is, I found myself watching for Guillermo, watching for other members of the group. They did kind of flash on one guy who I think was the nurse, dead. But I didn't want to see that. I didn't want to see them dead. I didn't want to see them overrun. I actually prefer the idea of the Vatos as a mystery. And as, maybe somehow they've managed to eke it out and they're still surviving somehow in their little enclave.
Not anymore.
Yeah. No, it was sad. And then I actually clicked into a video that was up on the same page on YouTube. Did you watch Lori as a zombie by any chance?
No.
So it was a deleted scene from season 3, and when Rick unplugs the phone, I like that, and he keeps seeing her in that white dress.
Yeah.
He actually crosses over onto the bridge just outside of the prison boundaries and embraces her, and then when he kind of comes back from kissing her, she has full-on zombie makeup.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of overkill, but it was interesting to watch. So if anybody wants to see that, if you click into the link about the Vatos, that's like the next thing that loads on the YouTube page. So thanks, Laura, for sharing that with us, because that was pretty cool. I mean, even though we had different takes on it, it was interesting to watch it.
What else do we have?
We actually have a great post from Thomas Reese. So he did correct us and say that the Chrysler 300 debuted in 2004. So
yeah, I was way
okay.
off on that. It did not feel like that was 2004, but well, he's my new stat man. So
when you get past a certain age, it all blurs together. Trust me on this one. He also predicted that Jesus was probably the new character that we were going to see this time, so he was right on. But this is what I really liked. So he wrote, crazy predictions. Glenn will never die. He will be alive in the last minute of the last episode of the last season. 2, Carol will meet Lucille in episode 6/16. We're expecting a big death, and the writers know we're expecting Glenn, Abraham, or Daryl to get it. There's nothing more horrifying than a madman beating a seemingly defenseless woman to death with a baseball bat. She'll step in, try to mediate or defuse the situation, and Negan will shock and awe. And I wrote back, hey, I like that theory. That's a place none of us have gone, and it's a great way to resolve our ever-increasing conflicted feelings about Carol.
Well, that's very true. And then just from Carol's own past, she was able to get away from that husband, ultimately to die in, unfortunately, the same way.
Oh, God, that would be horrible, but that would be so fitting.
She was able to escape that life from the very beginning, completely change who she was in every way, shape, or form, only in the end to be back at the very beginning.
And based on what some of us know about Negan's relationship with women, that's perfect. So it's a crazy prediction. It's a bold prediction. I kind of hope you're wrong, Thomas Reese, but I also think it's excellent.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's pretty good. Carol could be at that stage being gone, I guess. I don't see why she couldn't. She has kind of taken a back seat here lately.
Well, and I think people are not liking the turn that she has taken, and I think they've set us up a little bit for it by, for example, having Sam flash back on the horrible things that she said to him when he froze and died.
Well, I think she's got to deal with Morgan first.
I think so too. I mean, I think that's fair, but that doesn't negate that this could be her end.
That would go against all my other bold predictions, so I can't go back and do that because I got other people on my kill list first.
Nah, it's all good. I mean, we know that somehow the kill list is going to evolve, but I thought this was one of the best predictions I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna shed some weight. There's no doubt about it. I've been very open about how many I think are going to die and who's going to die, and I think it's going to continue along the same way, regardless, with no end in sight. More people are going to die. They have to. We have too many cast members.
And we do have people who are going to stay. Like, I think you're right. I think Jesus is going to stay. I'm not sure about Spencer. I think we're probably going to continue to see Aaron and Heath.
Yeah, I think they're going to really start to come in here. But, so check this out. You want me to make everybody depressed?
Sure, go for it.
There's only 6 episodes left in this season.
Oh, okay. That was painful.
Think about it like that. We're 2 down, 6 to go.
Wow. They've got a lot to accomplish in 6 episodes.
A lot of people have to die.
Yeah.
To keep up with my bold predictions, there's going to be about 1 an episode right now.
So you kind of got a direct link to Nicotero. He's listening.
I think he is. So that's cool. It'd be nice. Drop me a line. Say hi. But there's only 6 episodes. There's 25 cast members with names that have some sort of value in the show. Another one just came on. We still have the guy and woman who stole Daryl's bike and crossbow.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget about that. That's coming back again. That's not just going to go away. There's lots of stuff because they were a part of the Saviors. They were hiding and running from that group.
They are. They're running from Negan's group. Yep, good point.
So it's all going to come back here at some point, and it's all going to happen real fast. I mean, I did before, but Sasha, Daryl, Abraham, they have their own storyline. You've got Rick and Michonne and Heath and Aaron, and it just keeps going on and on and on. There's all these things that are out there. We gotta lose about 1 per episode, and if they don't start dying off at 1 per episode starting now, in those last 2 or 3 episodes, a lot of people, a lot of valuable people are going to die in the last 2 episodes, like 3 and 4 an episode.
I think they might do that. I can't see them piecemealing it out over the next 6 because that would not be as shocking as losing several people in one fell swoop.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Hey, so before we wrap up, I just wanted to say, what'd you think of that Fear the Walking Dead trailer?
I dig it. I've kind of been following it online.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun to see it kind of progress again in a new light where they're on the beach and there's no beach is safe and they're kind of coming into the water, and then you kind of see a flash on the yacht of 2 people pointing guns at each other. I can't wait. So this season will make or break me for Fear the Walking Dead for this season.
I agree. And this trailer gave me some hope that it's going to make me.
So I don't think they're going to make a, quote, farm season out of season 2 for Fear the Walking Dead. I think they have ultimately understood why the farm I think they were doing 12 episode seasons then for season 2. I think they understand how drawn out the farm was and how it hurt a lot of people's interest in the show. I had a couple of friends who just stopped watching The Walking Dead and still have not picked it back up.
Oh, that's depressing.
Because of the farm. And they're just like, nope, it just completely ruined it for me. No interest.
Wow.
So, I don't think we'll get a farm-esque type season out of Fear the Walking Dead for season 2.
No, they're going to have to play it smart, and they're going to have to make it fast. They're going to have to make it constantly engaging to keep people aboard.
Well, and ultimately that's kind of the joy and the fun of this thing anyways, is that they've learned a lot of lessons
Mm-hmm.
in this universe, and they have a lot of opportunity with no source material now to do whatever the hell they want to do. And they can rewrite all the rules because this is its own universe. You know, you're on the other side of the country. So what happened in one doesn't have to happen in the other. They can do whatever the hell they want to. And it's going to be super cool.
I think it looks really good.
Well, hey, all right. That's it for me.
That's it for me, too. Gotta go get ready for work.
Yep, time to get to work. All right, everybody. You know the drill. We are terrible at doing this, but we're going to keep doing it. Just take it one dead day at a time. Yeah, just whatever.
Hey, we got better. I think this is the best one.
See ya.
All right, have a great week.